Hi guys, this is Shelly's Everyday Adventures. If you're new here, I want to thank you so much for being here, and for my older subscribers, for everyone, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're not subscribed, I would ask that you hit the subscribe button. So today is episode 5, and mistakes I've made and the wisdom that it brought me. So I'm going to start out, and I'm going to dive right into this. I know I don't want to waste your time. So the first one is telling people everything I know and thinking they were my friend. That is the biggest mistake that I have made in my life. One of the biggest mistakes. I have to say, I'm very trusting. I tend to take people at face value because I am who I am. I don't hide anything. I don't cover anything up. So I trust that other people are the same, and it's just not true. Uh, I have talked to people and told them things that I probably shouldn't have because they turned around and used it against me. Some of them were even relatives, to be honest with you. So, my first advice is keep things to yourself. People don't really, the general population really don't care about you. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you don't have people in your circle that don't, that don't care about you. They do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about casual friends and stuff. They don't care. Most of the time, they care about what they can get from you. I know that sounds a little harsh, but I feel like it's reality. Okay, the second thing that I found now, I have my own business, as you guys know, it's dog grooming, and the second thing that I have to say is, and people told me this, they told me don't do it. It's hiring family to work for me. Another huge mistake. Now, my sister has worked for me, and she's done well, so I can't really complain about her. But there was someone on my husband's side of the family who has hated me from day one. From the minute that I came into the family, she didn't like me, and honestly, I'd never done anything to her at all. She just didn't like me. So she would, in the beginning, actually, she told people she was going to beat me up because she didn't want me with her family member. She didn't want me with her family member. I'm not going to go into real details. I'm not going to tell you who it is. But over the years, I tried to befriend this person, befriend her. And about 2 or 3 years ago, her husband passed away. Now, she had been on disability for years. Her husband had been on disability for years. And her parents had recently died, and they were living with his parents. They had been originally living with her parents. Anyway, and then they moved in with his parents when her parents passed away. But anyway, I digress. When her husband died, she was struggling. She didn't have money. She didn't have a place to live. And due to the fact that this was a family member of my husband's, I reached out to her. I wanted to mend bridges if I could. I don't know what I was thinking because I wasn't the one that had the hard feelings, but anyhow. So we had a little place here on the farm, and I told this person, I said, you can live in that apartment, you pay X amount of rent, and then you can work for me, and we'll work things out. So she worked for me for a while, and I thought we were friends. I thought we were getting along. Stupid me, okay? I should have known better. I mean, somebody who didn't like me from the beginning, and I should have known better. But anyway, it got to the point where about 6 months after her husband died, she spent 99% of her time instead of working for me on dating sites. And, well, it's a long story, and I'm not going to go there. But I ended up having to let her go. You know what happened? I'm the bad guy. So this person went about bad mouthing me, telling everyone things that weren't true, and it was ugly. Let's put it that way. So never hire family. Never. That is the second life lesson that I learned. Number 3, trying to help people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't help people, but getting in too deep with someone, trying to help them. I have found that getting in too deep with people only destroys you. These people are in situations that they're in, a lot of them, not all of them, and I'm not judging anyone. They don't know how to get out of them. They don't know how to break the cycle of what they're doing. They're in their they're in their problems because of that. And you can't go in and fix that. You can't make them see things differently if they don't want to. So if you get in too deep trying to help others, you end up being brought down. That's all I'm saying. Do I think that you should give someone a meal? Yes. Do I think that you should help somebody out if you can? Yes, I do. I'm just saying, don't go too deep. And the fourth one, the fourth one, never tell or let anyone know how much money you make. If you make $10, if you make $10,000, it's nobody's business but your own. I've made the mistake. Well, I didn't tell anybody. They would come to work for me and they would figure out how much I made, and then they would get angry because their attitude was, I had this one lady who thought that I should basically give her 50% of what I make. And I thought, what is she thinking? She just works here. I hired her. Um, any of you know how business works? I'm sure you do. You guys are smart. She apparently didn't understand this concept, but I built the business. I worked the business. I put in all the hours. Sometimes it was early in the morning till late in the evening. I do everything. I pay for everything, the electric, the supplies, all the things that went into the grooming shop. And she thought I made too much money and I should give her half. And so now I try to keep people at arm's distance. I don't bring anybody in. I'm a one woman show now because honestly, I've been burnt so many times that I just don't. And the final one I have to say I've learned lessons with is if you have something to say about someone, just keep it to yourself. If you tell someone, it gets spread around and it's taken out of context. So your best bet is to just keep your cards close to your vest. Don't 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 talk about it anymore. Okay. So with these mistakes, I've learned. With each mistake, I have learned how to deal in life. Some of them were harsh lessons, but they were learned. I want to encourage you to think about some of the mistakes that you've made and think about what you have learned from that mistake and use that to grow. Growth is not an easy thing. Growth can be hard. But somebody once told me that I would cry over, maybe I cut a dog's nail too short and I would get upset. I would worry. And the person told me, look, if you're not doing anything, you can't make mistakes. You're bound to make mistakes when you're doing. You need to learn from those. So I took that and I learned and I learned and I learned and I grew and I moved on. And that's what we all need to do. If you're doing, you're making mistakes. You're human. What you need to just remember that you need to learn from your mistakes. At the end of the day, sit back. Okay, I made this mistake. What can I take from that? Mistakes are actually lessons in disguise. So take that for what it's worth. Own your mistakes and don't make excuses. Now I'm going to go back to the dog grooming thing. As a dog groomer, I've made mistakes. You cannot put a living creature on a table with sharp objects and expect everything to turn out perfect. It doesn't. Uh, I have made uneven cuts because dogs are jumping around. I've accidentally nicked an ear because dogs are jumping around. It happens. Okay? It really does. And there are many groomers out there, and I'm on a site for groomers, and a lot of them are so insecure. And it's easy, it's human, it's natural. They want to cover up their mistake and not tell the owner that they did it. For example, one lady nicked the dog's neck, so instead of telling the owner that she did it, she put a scarf on the dog to cover it up. Do you really think the owner's not going to eventually see that and be angry? So when I say own your mistakes and make no excuses, this is from my perspective. If I nick a dog or I accidentally cut one too short in one spot, I laugh about that because that's harmless. It doesn't hurt the dog, but it's bad for your ego, to be honest. I tell them, and you don't know how many people have said to me, I really appreciate your honesty. Well, I would want people to be honest with me, and I don't want them coming back. And 99.999% of the people that I admit my mistake to are forgiving and fine. So own your mistakes and don't make excuses for them. Just put them out there, apologize for them, and accept the consequences and move on. You need to figure out where you went wrong and change it. So this is what making mistakes is all about. I need you to think about this today. What lessons have you learned from a mistake? And try to correct that. Try to learn and grow from that. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.